Dikshasti chet pranatibhischa bhajanti isham Shushrusaya bhajana vigyamananya anya Nindadishunya hridamipsita sangalabdhya. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha. 1 second, let me just send out a message here. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, worshiping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Once again, one should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshiping the deity. One should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. Okay, so now in this verse, Rupa Goswami is describing different levels of devotees. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives many different definitions of the beginner, intermediate, and advanced devotees. So this is very, very interesting for our Krishna consciousness because we all want to advance, right? And we all want to also know who is an advanced devotee. And here, the beginner, intermediate, and advanced devotees are being defined and described in distinctly 5 different ways, which I'm going to cover. And by reading this, the main benefit is for ourselves. By reading this, we can understand what we can do to advance in spiritual life, where we are at, maybe what mistake we're making or what good thing we're doing, and how we can advance. A beginner by one definition may not be a beginner in another definition. So there's also these definitions sort of overlap. And so we can, strive in one way if in another way we are falling short. Just like an adolescent may be at different levels of maturity, emotionally, intellectually, socially, and physically, right? A young boy or girl may be mature, maybe intellectually, but not so emotionally, or socially, but not physically. So there's different aspects to us, and some mature more for some people, others less. In the same way, in the qualities of the devotees, there's different ways to define or assess a person's level of advancement, which may be different for different people. So one way that the beginner and the intermediate and advanced devotee is defined is by their dedication to the process. Dedication to the process of Bhakti Yoga. So for the beginner devotee, the definition, their dedication to the process is defined as follows. A neophyte devotee who has received the Harinam initiation from the spiritual master and is trying to chant the holy name of Krishna. So if one is a neophyte devotee and that person has received initiation and is trying to chant the holy name of Krishna, that is the beginner devotee. One should respect such a person within the mind, Rupa Goswami says. So that person is a devotee, and we respect that person within one's mind. The Madhyamadhikari has received spiritual initiation from the spiritual master and has been fully engaged by him in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So Madhyamadikari devotee has received second initiation, which according to Rupa Goswami, when he mentions Diksha, he's referring to second initiation, which I'll talk about more. It's a very interesting point. And that person has been fully engaged by the spiritual master in the loving service of the Lord. So that is an intermediate devotee. They're more dedicated. They're dedicated to their spiritual master. They are not just chanting under the spiritual master's instructions, or have not just received, or not just doing the chanting process, but they are trying to lead a life of devotion. They're fully engaged in the Lord's service. Like we see, right? Some devotees, they chant their 16 rounds and they try to follow the 4 regulated principles, and that's pretty much it. Other devotees are actively trying to serve. They're trying to preach. They're trying to do more. In addition to chanting their 16 rounds, they're trying to do more. They're on the Madhyamadikari level. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. An Uttamadikari is not interested in blaspheming others. His heart is completely clean, and he has attained the realized state of unalloyed Krishna consciousness. So a very key point here is that an Uttamadikari devotee is defined by someone who has lost the propensity to criticize others. So what does this mean when one has lost the propensity to criticize others? This means that if we are criticizing someone else, we are not an Uttamadikari devotee. So whether or not the other devotee is not a pure devotee, that is open to debate, right? If we're criticizing someone, that person who we're criticizing, whether that person is a pure devotee or not is open to debate. Who is free from the desire to blaspheme others. Their heart is completely clean. There's no malice. There's no problems in their heart. And therefore they realize the state of unalloyed Krishna consciousness. So thinking about ourselves, right? Here we just should think about ourselves. These verses are meant mainly for ourselves. If I have the tendency, if I have the desire to criticize someone else, I'm telling Krishna and I'm telling myself that I'm not an advanced devotee. Right? Beginner, intermediate, advanced. And the devotee that I'm criticizing, like I mentioned, may or may not be advanced, but I'm for sure telling myself that I'm not an advanced devotee. So this is such a nice definition. It just clears everything for us, that we will give up our desire to blaspheme because we'll want to advance, and we'll say, well, if I want to advance, I cannot blaspheme. I was just hearing a class by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, a very, very beautiful class on forgiveness that he gave. It's one of my favorite classes among all his classes. And he was saying how when we are free from this propensity to criticize others, when we are situated on the platform of no false ego, when we give up our false pride, our false ego, our sense of importance, our sense of greatness, when we are willing to forgive others, then Krishna's pastimes become revealed to us. Then Krishna's pastimes will become revealed to us. So he's saying that if we want to see Krishna's pastimes, then that's the price. That's the price that we pay. And so we were talking about how bhava bhakti is greed, right? Intense greed to attain the Lord. So if we have the greed to see Krishna's pastimes, to participate and engage in Krishna's pastimes, if we have an intense greed for this, then we will have to give up all forms of criticism towards other devotees. we will naturally forgive, and we will naturally give up our false pride. We will find every opportunity to be humble and forgive if we want that. Right? Just like I was thinking, a material example is when someone wants to rise in their company, or someone wants to become the prime minister, they have an intense greed. Then what do? They have to um, um, clean the shoes of their people above them, right? They have to, you have to keep quiet, and you have to, everyone knows this in the corporate world, or if you're just working outside, you have to sort of butter up, as they say, the others, and not just that, even your colleagues, so that when the moment comes for the promotion, there's a manager position. The devotee knows this. If nothing else, just of the greatness of devotees, but just out of the greed to enter into Krishna's pastimes, we need to give this up. I thought it was a very wonderful point. It gives us a motivation, an impetus to want to come to this level. Um, and
Haribol Prabhu,
yes,
can you repeat yourself? The last 30-45 seconds, you were completely like, uh, you know,
completely up. Okay. Okay, I'm going
gone.
to connect with my
You,
hotspot.
you were giving an example of buttering up and then
Yes.
oh.
Okay. I'm going to actually I'm first going to connect to my hotspot, because it's good we're testing this today. Then I'll know every time this is going to work or this is not going to work. I'm really sorry about this. I don't know why the internet. Okay, very good. So now I'm connected to the iPhone, and I'm going to log out and log back in really fast.